In this section of the site, we're going to discuss the immigration deportation hearing. Nowadays, it's called an immigration removal hearing. The two words mean basically the same, except that deportation was used in the old law before 1997, and removal has not been used since after 1997. Aside from the name, there are various differences in when and where the deportation began, the case began. Now, what happens when you get involved with the immigration court? Well, the first thing is, once you, I assume, get picked up by immigration or get denied for an application and they send you a notice to appear. A notice to appear is a document. It's called a charging document. It's very similar if you're getting sued in a civil court and they give you a summons. It's the same thing. It's a notice to appear, an NTA. And the NTA states on it your name, your address, and several other things. It states what country you're from, how you entered the United States, whether you came in on a tourist visa or a fiancé visa, or you actually came overland through a border point without being inspected by the immigration. And they'll estimate a date. And they will discuss if you have a visa, what type of visa it is, and anything else that you may have done wrong. For example, if you had committed a crime, it's going to mention that you committed a crime. If you had a marriage fraud in the immigration service when you applied for your green card, it will mention that. So initially you get this notice, the NTA, and they tell you what the charges are. And at the end it says that you are removable as charged. In other words, they're saying that if you don't contest these things, we're going to deport you. So what happens? You get the notice and you have to appear on a certain date in court. Sometimes the notice says a date to be assigned in the future. So in other words, the notice may not actually have a date. When you get that, you can wait for the court to send you a notice, but that's a bit dangerous because if for any reason you don't receive it and you don't appear in court, you will be deported in absentia. In other words, deported without your body. And that creates a whole new level of problems, such as that you can't get your green card no matter what, even with waivers, unless you stay out of the country for at least 5 years. So you don't want to miss a court date. So when you get a notice that says on a future date to be set, what you have to do, you have to call this number, and I'm going to repeat it here. It's 1-800-898-7180. They will ask you on the phone there when you call the A number of the case. This number is written on the NTA, on the notice to appear on the upper right hand corner. It's an 8 or 9 digit number, and that's the number you use. And when you put the number into the system and press number 1, it'll tell you the date of your next court hearing. Now, when you go to court that day, if you haven't yet obtained a lawyer, the judge will always give you additional time to get a lawyer, and they will give you a list of the free agencies, the free lawyers that can provide immigration services for you. This is not like a criminal case. In a criminal case, the court can appoint a lawyer for you and they will pay for the lawyer. But in an immigration case, they will give you a list of nonprofit agencies, but if you want your own lawyer, you're going to have to pay for it. Now, the second time that you have to appear, you should show up with your lawyer. And your lawyer at that point would have already discussed the case with you, and him and you will determine what is the best strategy. For example, let's say you've been here for about 15 years, you have 3 American kids, you qualify for what's called cancellation of removal. A lot of people call it the 10-year law, and during the process, you can apply for your green card. Or let's say you receive that notice and you get married. Then the lawyer can terminate, close the proceedings, so that you can continue with processing your marriage case. In any event, the first hearing that you go to is called a master hearing. That hearing is just to determine what you're going to do. And the judge and the government's lawyer and your lawyer discuss what the possibilities there are for you to become legal in the United States, if any. Once that's decided, and yes, you do have a case, the judge will mark an individual date. The individual date is the actual trial date. Now, in the northeast area of the United States here, they're very backlogged. And I had just the other day a case scheduled for 2 years in the future. Hard to believe. But the case would be scheduled in 2 years in the future, and then we'll have a trial, and if we win, my client would get a green card. If we lose, you still have an opportunity to appeal. And you have 30 days to appeal, and then you'll see what an appellate judge will say to that. And hypothetically, if you lose again, you could always go to a federal court after that. Now, if you get picked up and you absolutely have no basis to stay here, you can always apply for voluntary departure. Voluntary departure is a process where you could request the court to let you leave voluntarily. And you'd have to establish to the court that you're a good person, you haven't committed any crime, and you have the money, the funds, to leave when it's time to leave, when the judge tells you you have to leave, and you will leave on time. And the way it works, if you apply for voluntary departure in the beginning of the case, you get 4 months more that you can leave. If you apply at the tail end of the case, after you've had a trial, after you've lost, then the judge will give you 2 months for you to leave. This is a basic outline of what happens in a deportation case. In my office, I have been handling deportation cases for the last 30 years. I have done so many of them that I can't even count the numbers. If you or anyone of your family have a problem with an immigration case and get that notice to appear, you better see me or some other immigration lawyer as soon as possible to protect your rights. Best of luck.